How are you, sir?
Yes, sir. What's going on? How you doing?
Hanging in there. We spoke for one night in Miami about 4 years ago, and definitely
Wow.
nothing has happened in between then.
Ha.
Nothing of note.
Isn't that
Uh,
mad? Wasn't that mad? Like just being on Zoom for all those weeks and months.
it gave me the terrible habit of I never wear pants anymore. And
Don't need to. I'd never know.
yeah, no, it was so funny how many times we do that, and just someone would quip back like, "Yeah, why would you?" Or "Don't look down." It's
I
just,
need shoes.
yeah, listen, exactly. Shoes, decorum. Why would
Who
we do any of that?
who needs them?
Uh, Exactly. But it's been cool to see. I always love when I see someone break through and then, figure out what's next, and just whether it's popping up in Barbie or obviously this film, and then on TV, just seeing the, like, I love when momentum continues, because it is kind of the hardest thing. Like, it's not so much whether you're good at your job or not, right? You don't get to start without being good at it. But the idea that people keep wanting to put you in things, you keep finding stuff you want to do, how hard is that? Because the more you do things, the more you get things that honestly you probably don't want to do, or it's the thing you just did. How do you, whether it's this or anything else, how do you find the thing that you go, I want to spend the time, I want to make the effort?
I think it's first. I think if you have to tap into, first of all, you have to really acknowledge that it is a champagne problem, and then once you check that in yourself, you find a way to enjoy the new version of the
Yeah.
process. It changes slightly, and I think technically what happens is you have more opportunities come, and you have to be more discerning. So you end up saying no to a lot more things, which can be really difficult if you're still in the mindset of, I'm a working actor and I just want to work and get involved and do all of that. I can't say that I'm the best at it. I've got a great team and I got a lot of help. But I think after playing someone like Bob, what's tricky is you're looking for that experience that's going to feel terrifying in a way, and you're like coming into it not really knowing anything or how it was going to happen or how we were going to do it, and going through a process over a year of trying to find it and having the family and all of that. It's going to be hard to find something that's exhilarating as that. So you've got to wait. I'm going to start rehearsals for a play in a couple of weeks' time, and it felt like a similar feeling. I haven't been on stage in 12 years. It's Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. It's a beast of a play, a beast of a part, an incredible company, a great director, and I felt scared. And I was like, that's it. Then you got to go and do it.
If you don't feel scared, then you have to figure out why. But I think you speak to something really true about, like, keeping sort of the mindset. Like, I'm sure the first time you get a script that you turn down where you're like, that's more money than I've ever seen before in my life. What am I doing? You have to realize, like, no, but that's because I've entered a new part and I'm still me. But the things I'm getting sent, like you said, you want to be scared. Scared is good. Like, I
Hmm.
think if you're not worried about disappointing anyone, if you're not worried about what it's gonna be like, what your friends will say, whether it people like the film, the performance, something's off, because it is already the best job in the world. You've already won. So, like,
Hmm.
if you're not having fun, and if you're not worried about the quality, why should anyone who watches it care? Why should the person who pays to see it care? Why should the person who pays to get it made care?
Hmm.
I think you speak to something really true about why, especially with this film, why it meant so much to everyone, is
Hmm.
that people wanted to get it done and get it done in the right way, as opposed to, if we get it done by this date, we can release it. It'll make this much. Like, all those conversations don't
Hmm.
seem as what like they happened, and that's always a good sign.
Hmm. Yeah, this was definitely about authenticity and being, well, it wasn't this explicit, but it was like, how do we represent Bob and the culture and the language in a way that's going to be putting him in a Hollywood movie where where Jamaican patois is represented to the fullest for the first time, whether or not people understand or not, and like that was a really delicate dance, and we had to really all work hard to find it, and yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
off
was
the,
about to say, what is that like when you start? Because until you get on set, it's hypothetical, right? It's, oh yeah, of course we want to do it that way. It's not your job to worry about the conversations about getting it done, but you're preparing, you're ready. once the camera rolls and you know that like, okay, that first take's there, whether it's good or not, whatever. Once you start doing it and you're a couple days in, like, do you get the sense that it's going well? Do you have the doubts, or yeah, when do you feel like it's running? Like, when do you think the train is running on time? Because it seems like it could so easily be, I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm just trusting that it's going to work out, but the work doesn't speak to that.
Yeah, I think if you've, I think if you've done the work leading up, you have
Yeah,
to prep hard. You have to prep hard, and then you have to let it all go. And then the process of filming should feel vulnerable. You should feel unsure. You should feel like it's always on the edge of being two takes away from being really, really bad. And that's the only way you can get to good. So there is a part of it that you should feel a little unsure, but you should feel certain coming in that you have a bag full of choices that you're ready to explore, which is
that's
very
that.
different to coming in going, this is how I'm going to do it, and this is the only way I'm going to do it. I think having Ziggy there with us the whole time, and I think because 98% of the cast were Jamaican, I think because Bob's best friend Neville Garrick was with us every day, there was a security in that, knowing that if it wasn't working, they were going to say something, and they did when it wasn't. Then you get a thumbs up when it was. And so it was really a communal process. We all kind of figuring it out together as we went along.
Oh yeah, because you are, that like that is, it's so true that you could have someone go, well, that's not quite how he did it, and then the other person in the room go, yeah, but we're making a movie, it doesn't work that way, and suddenly you're just doing this and nothing gets done for a
Yep.
day. I think that sense of someone being able to tell you, yeah, doesn't necessarily mean that it's not fitting the movie's purposes, but like we see what you're doing and it reflects how we felt.
Hmm.
And that also, I think, working with, people you trust that you get along with. I don't think you do those bad takes if you don't trust your director, because you don't go out on a limb. You just kind of keep it here and you
Hmm.
never do anything over here or over here. And you need to have that trust that like, yeah, the next tape might be the worst thing I've ever done in my life, but it's gonna go in the garbage.
Are
We'll
you
never see it again.
are you an actor?
Yeah.
Because you seem to know you've got a real understanding of the process and
No, it's true. Like I think it's like anything. Like
right.
there's nothing wrong with doing it wrong to get it right. Especially like, listen, what is it? It's time and money, right? Is the only thing you need more of here. So if you have the time, why would you not take another crack at it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess you're right. It's the same with anything. Trying to do anything well, you kind of have to be on the edge of getting it wrong. Um,
Oh yeah, that's where the excitement comes from too. I'm sure. Like I'm sure you've been in things where you go, all right, this is fine, and I'm not proud of this, and that's good. But there's something different about the like, I'm worried if people like this, and I think I did a good job, and
hmm.
people have told me I did a good job. But obviously, people need to see it, and people, especially with Bob Marley, everyone has their version of Bob, and they're all
Hmm.
right,
Hmm.
and they're all right because they're not him. So like, finding the one you want to tell that makes sense to you as an actor, and makes sense to the storytellers, and makes
Hmm.
sense to the family, and then makes sense to an audience, that's damn near impossible. So to even come close, I think, is kind of a miracle.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's a really smart, observant point is that you do have to, you build character from theme. So you build character from story. And this story was a very, very gentle redemption story where it felt to me like a man's lifelong journey to find inner peace or safety. With the inciting incident being an attempted assassination, and him having to leave his home and find community and music in a different place, his drive to get a message out and then to return home. To me, it felt like a man's lifelong journey or search for peace, which is universal because we're all in our own way on that journey to feel love or to be loved or to feel safe or to different extents. And so it was nice to be able to lock into that and build every scene out of that controlling idea, which is really, really simple, but really, really the connecting tissue is undeniable. There's no one who is not in some way, shape, or form on their own
Oh,
journey,
yeah.
in that way.
And I think having, as we sort of wrap up, having that guiding light of, okay, if everything I'm doing leads back to that, I can probably explore more, because if that makes sense to me, that means I'm still like on theme, as opposed to worrying like, oh, he didn't say that. Like as soon as you start worrying about that, you're lost, because we're making a fictional movie. Like
You can make
some,
any words work if you
yeah,
know what the controlling idea is. If you know what you're in service to, the lines don't matter. You know, it's what's underneath. And so,
And I'm it's like you said, whether it was Ziggy or anyone else who would sit there and go, "Yeah, he never said that," but feels like he did,
yeah,
or that gave me the feeling of what I want, or whatever the case is, that safety net of this passes the smell test. It doesn't have to be exact. In fact, it shouldn't be exact. We're making it needs to like speak to bigger themes. It needs to be, go figure, entertaining, things like that. Like once everyone's given the thumbs up, I'm sure that also for you is huge of like, okay, I can continue to explore and I can keep getting that thumbs up.
hmm
Already won. So you should be so incredibly proud of that. And I think it bodes so well for what's to come, because I think in only a couple of years, throw in a pandemic, so it feels like a lifetime, but kind of proven you can do almost anything. So I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to see what comes next, just because you have good taste, you say no to things, and what you say yes to is always interesting.
Thank you, bro.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I
It's
can't
very
wait till
kind.
you're too famous to want to do these with me.
I'm here all the time, bro.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, we'll get you there eventually. But
Yeah,
still, in the meantime, this is a pleasure, and congrats. You should be very proud, and the fact that almost a year later we're still having a conversation is
amazing. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man.
my
Nice
pleasure,
one.
man.
Have a good
Yeah.
one. Cheers, brother.